In many great stories on television or in the movies, there comes a seminal moment when it is made clear how great a story really is. In Serenity, this moment for me is when Reavers are first detected, and when everyone waits nervously for their fate. This moment is quite suspenseful for obvious reasons, but the power of it seems to come from the fact that we know these characters so well. This episode goes out of its way to introduce its characters through their actions and stories so that the tension in the air feels strangely almost comfortable. Comfortable because these are people who I would probably choose to die with if I had to. That's a big accomplishment for a TV series pilot, and I would like to discuss this episode in terms of how it introduces its characters. Each of the 9 characters are introduced and reintroduced, almost as if this is a coordinated lecture. Through the characters' actions, the story is trying to get us up to speed, as any TV pilot should. But this 2-hour pilot goes one step beyond, and treats the characters' introductions and their integration into the plot as a top priority, and a lot of clever writing goes toward that priority. Serenity is a great episode because introducing its characters is only the first step.
Bendis! Bendis! Knight's cover fire.
Did you see that? Great. What's our status on it? Zoe.
Bendis here is portrayed as a bit of a chump,
Bendis,
but I suspect that we should see his reaction to intense combat as a fairly normal thing.
We're gonna die.
Perhaps in some way he's the lucky one, because he doesn't have to live with the aftermath of this catastrophe. The main characters on Firefly usually have a tough warrior's response to violence. But Bendis, Kaylee, and to some extent Wash have this regular civilian response to threats and violence, and Firefly needs these people to add some sanity to the action-adventure, and they help tell the story of Malcolm Reynolds, a man who deserves something like the Congressional Medal of Honor,
Tell the 82nd.
They're not coming.
but who instead gets handed his hat. As a side note, Malcolm's unfortunate discovery here is one of the best examples of genuine shock that I have ever seen on TV. Firefly would be a watchable television series even if scenes like this were all that it had going for it. I have seen very little of Nathan Fillion before this, but I do remember his short performance in Saving Private Ryan. If you can get access to a Saving Private Ryan DVD, skip forward to the part where they meet Nathan Fillion, who plays the first Private Ryan. The character receives shocking news, of course, and this provides Fillion with the chance to give us the facial expression that he does well. He looks shocked, but I also see a bunch of emotions that his performance allows us to see there. Fillion has an everyman quality to his reactions that reminds me of Harrison Ford.
Cry, baby, cry.
Make your mother sigh. Engaging the crybaby.
Captain, I am picking up a distress signal 13 clicks ahead from a... Sounds like a personnel carrier. Definitely a big ship, sir. And she's without power.
Wash, we're on, go!
Hang on, travelers.
Let's moon them.
They look shiny, Captain. They are not heat, not coming about.
Close one.
Anyone you walk away from, right? As long as we got the goods, I call this a win.
Right.
Thus endeth our first character introduction, Malcolm.
We win.
Firefly's most important character. The fun part, however, is that this is just a sketch of Malcolm Reynolds. We learn much more about this great man in scene after scene and through action after reaction. This whole TV series is about him, really.
That included some form of food. Just a couple of days lying around, you with the bathing, Me with the watching you bathe.
Well, the captain said it's all right.
What if we just told Mal we need a couple of days instead of asking him?
He's the captain, Wash.
Right. I'm just the husband.
Look, I'll ask him.
Don't forget to call him sir. He likes that.
Who likes what?
Here, of course, is the token
Exactly,
married
sir.
couple for Firefly.
Has the ambassador?
I like the ambition of this scene that hopes to introduce these characters, their relationship, and some possible tension, all in one casual conversation.
Inara has our timetable. She should be checking in.
I can tell her to cut it short. Meet us at the docks.
No. Don't want to get in the way if we don't have to. Somebody on this boat has to make an honest living.
Experience has been more than... It was very good. Thank you.
The time went too quickly.
Well, your clock's probably rigged to speed up and cheat us out of our fun.
I like how this episode subtly hints at what each character gets emotionally from their association with Serenity the ship and its crew. With this really simple scene, we get a better explanation of why Inara has chosen Serenity as her home than anything she has ever put into words.
Serenity, this is Shuttle 1. What's your ETA?
It's a nice touch,
Inara, hey. We're touching down at the
and it's another way to introduce a character without a boring speech.
10 minutes.
I'll join you there. Thanks.
Looking forward to it. We missed you out here.
Yeah, me too.
This shouldn't take too long. Just done for departure in about 3 hours. Grab any supplies we're low on, fuel her up.
I'd sure love to find a brand new compression coil for the
Yes,
steamer.
I'd like to be the king of all Londinium and wear a shiny hat. Just
This
get us
argument
back
about the
and
compression
just get us
coil
to bed.
is not just a throwaway line,
Compression coil busts were drifting.
Let's not bust then.
and it's more than just a setup for a morbid running gag that involves this very engine part which breaks and threatens the entire ship in the episode out of gas. In a sense, it's just the show's writers covering their butts. It is important for the atmosphere of the show and for some plot reasons for us to know that Malcolm runs a cash-poor enterprise. One of the first things that someone may wonder when they look at the ship is, why don't they get some lasers to shoot some asteroids or bad guys or whatever? And this answers your question. These people can't even afford some obscure engine part, much less a high-tech weapons system.
You're late.
You're lying.
What did you just say to me?
You're well aware we landed 2 hours before we planned to, with all the goods you sent us after intact, ready to roll. It's your decision to get tetchy, say we're late. Means you're looking to put us on the defensive right up front, which means something's gone wrong. It didn't go wrong on our end, so why don't we start again with you telling us what's up?
You're later than I'd like.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Only fluid I see here is a puddle of piss refusing to pay us our wage.
It doesn't have to go this way. You know you can still unload those goods, so I can't help thinking there's something else at work here.
What were you in the war? The big war you failed to win. You were a sergeant, yeah? Sergeant Malcolm Reynolds, Balls and Bayonets Brigade. Big, tough veteran. Now you got yourself a ship and you're a captain. Only I think you're still a sergeant, see? Still a soldier. Man of honor in a den of thieves. Well, this is my goddamn den. And I don't like the way you look down on me. I'm above you. Better than. Businessman, see? Roots in the community.
In later conversations, Jane makes it clear that he agrees with Badger on this point. It's kind of cool that the villain and the hero's sidekick level the same criticism toward the hero. They are probably both wrong, but it is a sign of a great action-adventure story that it does not take its hero too much for granted.
We're here for business.
Try one of the border planets. They're a lot more desperate there. Of course, they might kill you. But you stay here, and I just know the Alliance will track you down. I have that feeling.
I like this sequence. It's my favorite introduction to a character in this episode. Out of the chaos comes a truly unique man in the verse that we know.
You're gonna come with us.
He is almost being reborn,
Excuse me?
like River in a later scene.
You're like ships. You don't seem to be looking at the destinations. What you care about is the ships, and
And Book is successfully portrayed here as the good listener and the good judge of character that this TV series needs him to be. This scene is also doing something funky. It is introducing two characters at the same time as they introduce themselves to each other. If you notice, we haven't heard much from Kaylee before now. We know her job and disposition, I suppose, but this is the first opportunity that we get to hear them both talk for themselves.
how come you don't care where you're going?
Because how you get there is the worthier part.
Are you a missionary?
I guess. I'm a shepherd from the Southdown Abbey. Book. I'm called Book. Been out of the world for a spell. Like to walk it a while. Maybe bring the word to them as needed told.
Well, I'm Kaylee, and this here's Serenity, and she's the smoothest ride from here to Boros for anyone can pay. Can you pay, or?
Well,
I don't understand why we didn't leave that some bitch in a pool of his own blood.
We'd be dead. Can't get paid if you're dead.
Can't get paid if you crawl away like a bitty little bug, neither. I gotta share this job. 10% of nothingness. Let me do the math here. Nothing, and then nothing.
This scene, perhaps combined with the previous scene, is the introduction to the character of Jane.
You really think bad
His is the most deceptively simple of the character intros. He tells us basically who he is through a wink, a threat, and a curse. But this scene also tells us about the most important part of his character, his asshole status.
No rotten way. We ain't had a job in weeks. I didn't sign on with this crew taking the sights. We need coin.
Jane, your mouth is talking. You might want to look to that.
I'm ready to stop talking.
Right, though. Last two jobs we had for week T. We got nothing saved. Taking on passengers won't help near enough.
There are actually a lot of things that this scene doesn't tell us about him. We should keep that in mind when he starts talking with his mouth full in the later dinner scene.
Should be dead in the water.
So do like Badger said? The border planets?
I'm thinking Whitefall. Maybe talk to patients.
Sir, we don't want to deal with patients again.
Minara, just in time.
Let me guess, we're in a hurry?
Looks like. Starboard hatch green for docking.
Locked in 5, 4.
This next all-aboard sequence is a superb way to end the first part of this episode. This rounds off a batch of some great traditional storytelling, where all of the characters are given a turn to introduce themselves through choreographed speeches.
We got a full house, Captain.
Kaylee, I'm locking it up.
All aboard.
There is one character intro speech remaining, but that is being held back for obvious reasons. This sequence is one that most Hollywood dramas would hesitate to show.
Meals are taken up here in the dining area. Kitchen's pretty much self-explanatory.
It is setting up some basic details for the overall plot, but it is not strictly necessary, is it?
We do have sit-down meals, next one being at about 1800. You're welcome to visit the dining area anytime. Apart from that, I have to ask you to stay in the passenger dorm while we're in the air. The bridge...
It seems that the purpose of this scene is to show us the unprofessional customer service that Malcolm Reynolds presides over.
I figure you all got luggage you're going to need to get into. Since we're down here, we'll be happy to fetch them with you. Now, I have to tell you all one other thing, and I apologize in advance for the inconvenience. Unfortunately...
He isn't delivering a brilliant speech that issues the right atmosphere of command, diplomacy, and effective administration, like with Captain Picard or Buffy.
What medical supplies? I honestly didn't ask.
This scene, like Firefly as a whole, is about people trying to muddle their way through and play it by ear.
The line says jump. All right. So, you want to take me to the cargo bay?
Yes, sir.
Anything else you need, just ask. We, live to serve. Did you send word to patients?
Ain't heard back yet. Didn't she shoot you one time?
Everybody's making a fuss.
You're a doctor, right?
Oh, yes, I was a trauma surgeon on Osiris in Capital City.
Long way from here.
You seem so young. to be a doctor.
You're pretty young to be a ship's mechanic.
Jane struggles to maintain his asshole status. This is one of Malcolm's finer moments, of course, but maybe I should point out how perceptive Jane is.
Wow. Machines just got workings and they talk to me.
That's a rare gift.
Well, not like being a doctor.
His intelligence is
Helping fix
often
people.
underestimated.
Important.
Little Kaylee here just wishes you was a guy.
He may not be an Einstein, but sometimes he can read people like a book. And he is smart enough to figure out when is the absolute worst time to utter the absolute worst insult.
Is there an understanding between us?
You don't pay me to talk pretty. Just because Kaylee gets lubed up over some big city dandy.
Walk away
doesn't
from
mean-
this table. Right now.
What do you pay him for?
Well, let's see what a man like you would kill for.
The previous scene with the showdown and the hero book is quite cool. But my sentimental favorite sequence in this episode is this one, when we get the skinny on Simon and River. It is so loaded with revelation, so packed with really hardcore character dev. It's so simple.
She's not supposed to wake up for another week. The shock.
The shock of what?
That I watch it over and over.
Finding out you've been sold to some border world baron? Or, I'm sorry, was this one for you? Is it true love? Because you do seem a little...
Notice how the camera pulls back, way back. It's kind of imitating how River must feel right now.
River? Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here.
The shock of this scene is so profound and so cool that I still feel it even when I know what's coming next. It feels so real when River and Simon are calming each other.
We're safe. We're safe. I'm here.
And it feels so humbling for Malcolm when he finally gets the courage to speak.
What the hell is this?
I think that we learn more than just the facts here. We learn more about Simon and his relationship with River than we would in 100 conversations. His pauses speak volumes.
Will she be all right?
I don't know if she'll be all right. I don't know what they did to her. Or why. I just have to keep her safe.
That's quite a story, Simon.
Yeah.
And now we transition to another of Firefly's great argument scenes. It's often hard to tell when we're transitioning to a different scene in Firefly. I gotta say, I like that. It feels more intuitive, more natural.
Officer on board. We got the Alliance hard on our trail, and Kaylee.
How much does he?
Is it gold? Drugs? Pirate treasure? What is it that makes you so afraid of the Alliance?
You don't want to go down this road with me, boy.
Are you not afraid of them? I already know you'd sell me out to them for a pat on the head. Hell, you should probably be working for them. You certainly fit the profile.
Saw that coming.
Getting awful crowded in my sky.
I really like this transition. After the Reavers pass by, the tension is still in the air. We go straight to our onboard optimist.
Hey, Captain.
And she helps bring the drama back into the wonderful world in which Malcolm loves to hang out.
Oh, Kaylee, what's the news?
I'm shining.
He and Kaylee have a relationship that defies gravity, if you'll pardon the stupid metaphor.
I can't feel much below my belly, though. It's getting cold.
Well, you just gotta rest. Something's gonna break down on this boat real soon. Once I got to fix it.
Oh, don't you worry none. Doc fixed me up.
They're very close, but they have no connection except a solid friendship.
Nice.
Don't go working too hard on that crush. What's up, Mamie?
When Jane offends her, she gives him a polite, cold shoulder.
You shouldn't be so rude to him.
Why? Because he's all rich and fanciful?
He's not rich. The Alliance crashed his account.
But when Malcolm offends her, she tells him that they are not on speaking terms because she wants to teach him a lesson or something.
It's nobody's fault. Okay.
They both put a lot of such effort into maintaining this relationship. Malcolm needs an engineer, and Kaylee needs a protector, of course, but they have an emotional connection that moves well into the heartwarming range. It almost doesn't matter what they say to each other. So long as they are on the same page, life is okay.
You just gotta have faith in people.
This cheery woman who has just been shot by a cop and stalked by Reavers also maintains some sort of emotional engine of latent good intentions that resides somewhere inside Malcolm, if you'll pardon another stupid metaphor. Is she his inspiration? Okay, I'll stop rambling here, but I can't say enough about this beautiful and strangely innovative relationship.
Well, that doesn't get us what we need either.
There's moons on this belt we ain't seen. With the trial luck
Or luck?
Good line. Well delivered. Nathan Fillion does a good job of telling us exactly what he is about to say with that complex expression of sort of shock that he has on his face. It's a well-written speech that he is about to deliver, but we already understand what he is about to say because of that one line.
You notice anything particular about our luck these past few days? Any kind of pattern? You depend on luck, you end up on the drift. No fuel, no prospects. Begging for alliance make work. Getting towed out to the scrap out, that ain't us. Not ever. Patience has got the money to pay, and she will, one way or another.
Should think about asking the captain to drop you somewhere else. Nightfall ain't exactly civilization in the strictest sense.
You don't have to worry about me.
He's always out on a deal. I always worry. So, it's not out of my way.
The last act of this episode is surely a brilliant bit of action-adventure storytelling. Our heroes are facing 3 distinct threats simultaneously.
Don't you dare.
Each one could be the basis for the plot of an entire episode. The plot unlikelihoods pile up a bit, but we ignore them because this is just way too exciting to overanalyze. Starting with this scene, the episode changes gears, and the plot goes into autopilot and concludes the story with a series of action sequences that would impress James Cameron. I won't show it here, because it doesn't need my commentary. Go get a copy of the episode and watch it for yourself.